What is up, you guys? The Dark Knight here, back with another action figure review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Series Deadpool Wolverine movie Wolverine action figure. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you guys, if you feel so inclined, to please like the video and subscribe. It really does help my channel out and is absolutely free. Taking a look at the packaging over here, it's the newer Marvel Legends style packaging that Hasbro has been doing lately. We do see Marvel Legends at the top there, Wolverine at the side, and it's kind of like put over top, I guess, of what would say Logan on it. It's the whole like Deadpool style that we've seen with the Legacy figures. Deadpool Wolverine at the bottom over here. In the back, you do see some scribbles by Deadpool. The side over here, you see the window box continuing along, Wolverine, picture Wolverine, Marvel Legends Series. At this side, you do see the same picture Wolverine, Wolverine at the top, Marvel Legends Series. And at the back over here, you see a little bio of Wolverine, along with the rest of the figures you can collect in this wave. A bunch of legalese, warnings, etc. And then at the top, you get the Wolverine Deadpool logo, and at the bottom you got a barcode and more legalese. Overall, great packaging design. I hope to see more of this in the future. It is more condensed, so it does provide a little more space for those who want to be inbox collectors. Take a look at the figure over here. I will say I am a fan that we finally got Hugh Jackman in his yellow and blue costume in Marvel Legends form. It was very exciting at the time that this figure was announced, because the movie was just about, it was either already released or just about to be released, and so the hype level for it was super high, and people were calling this the figure of the year. Oh my god, it's crazy, we finally get Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in the classic comic book style. And yeah, it's great for that, but I do think that there are also a lot of issues with this figure that we'll get into. But for the accessories for this figure, he does come with an extra head, as we can see over here, and two extra hands. One's an open hand and the other is a closed-fisted hand. Why not include two-fisted and two open hands? Like, it's already a pretty expensive figure, and we're not getting a Build-A-Figure piece with this, so that kind of sucks. But then other than that, the head sculpt for this Hugh Jackman, he looks great. I really like this head sculpt. I think this is by far the best Hugh Jackman head sculpt that Marvel Legends has done. I know for this figure specifically, everyone only really cares about the masked head sculpt because, you know, it's Hugh Jackman and his Wolverine iconic mask from the comic books. So yeah, I think this turned out pretty good for what it is. I do like that they added the facial hair to help it look like Hugh Jackman, and the eyes look pretty spot on as well too. The rest of it has that sort of like basketball looking texture going on with all the lines. And that's one thing about the figure that I feel like it could have benefited from, was if they added a little bit more like weathering and paint detail, because as you can see, there's a lot of details in there, which is great. It's just they don't really pop because it's just a flat yellow. And yeah, like, yeah, it's good. It's good sculpting wise, but definitely could have used a little bit more paint detail. Obviously no sleeveless arms on this one here. I'm okay with that, and I'm sure that Hasbro will do another version of it later on. So not too worried about that. The claws here also look pretty good as well too. This is a bit of a newer style that they have going on, with where the claw now goes up to the actual knuckle piece here. So if you pulled this off, you would pull off this knuckle piece. And yeah, I mean, detailing these look pretty good. I like how the gauntlets look here as well too. The belt here looks great. It's also a separate piece, so you could swivel it around if you like. And then you get the rest of the pants here. It's more of a tactical looking pants. I will say, proportion wise with these, leg pieces do come out a little bit. I'm not a big fan of that, but if you do turn them in, it kind of does match it a little bit better. So I'm guessing that's why they did that. But not even the hips are dropped down, which kind of sucks. But it does make it look a little bit worse proportion wise. There's Wolverine butt. We got the legs at the back over here, and the boots here too. This I've been noticing from watching other reviewers that they have had the same issue as this here. I don't know why this boot is a little bit more dropped down over here in comparison to this side. Yeah, that is a very weird thing. I don't know if that was part of the concept or not, but that's something to keep in mind. And then the back of the boots over here look pretty good as well too. And then of course the feet look great as well. But then he's got two pegals at the bottom of the feet there as well too. As for articulation on this figure, I really do think it's where it falls flat. The head can move up about that much. Yeah, it's an okay amount, but for a Wolverine figure and getting him to crouching poses and more dynamic stuff, I really do feel like it should be able to move a little bit higher than that. And same thing as going down, it's not really all that much. You can move it side to side, you can pivot it. It's regular ball joint sort of stuff. He does have a butterfly joint in there, along with a nice joint in the arm where you can move it around like that. And then moving it up, because it's blocked by the shoulder pad, you can't get it up all that much. So I do wish that the shoulder pad was attached to the trap over here instead of the shoulder. That would have provided more articulation, and you wouldn't be getting this problem here where you can't move it up any more than that. But anyways, the arm can go up, down, bicep swivel. You got double jointed elbows in there, which is great. As you can see over here in the joints, though, the blue does not continue, so you are breaking up the sculpt a little bit. You do get some wrist articulation in here, which is a swivel and a hinge. And then you do get an ab crunch on this figure. I'm not a big fan of this because for the recent like Spider-Man figures, and keep in mind, this is a brand new sculpt for a figure. I do feel like if you had the diaphragm joint in there, you would have been able to get more dynamic poses out of him. But unfortunately, because it's just, up and down, yeah, you can't really do that all that much with the figure, which kind of sucks. And especially with Wolverine, you really want to get him into some pretty cool poses, and I just don't think an ab crunch cuts it with this figure. You do get a waist swivel in there though, which is nice. The legs do move up at about that much. It can move back. Then you got the splits, which can go about that much. You got an upper thigh cut. You got double jointed knees, which move in about that far. And once again, it is pinless joints, which is nice. And you do get some ankle articulation, which is down, up, and a bit of pivot. As for some comparisons over here, we do have Hugh Jackman's new Wolverine compared to the older Hugh Jackman Wolverine, and then also the older Deadpool figure as well too. These were the original releases of the figures. These aren't the Legacy Edition ones. And I think he scales pretty well with these guys. He scales okay with Deadpool. I think Deadpool was a little bit of a smaller scale at that time. I will say I do have the newer Deadpool in the package over here, and just like I've seen reviews of this guy online, but in person, he does not look all that crazy. But there's the comparison there if you guys want to see. He does stand around the same scale as this guy over here if you want to know the scaling wise. But yeah, it's not too crazy. Like comparing the two of them over here, uh, I just don't like the red on this one. The red looks a little bit too toyish to me. I like the darker red. So I don't know. I'm keeping this guy in the box for now. If you guys want to see a review of it, let me know in the comments down below. But it's not that impressive to me. But if you want to get another look at the Wolverine next to Deadpool over here, yeah, I mean, they look great together. And I kind of prefer that darker red look as well too. But if you did want to see a head swap over here, I have this head swap from this original Wolverine. He's got the more grinning teeth going on over there, so we'll try this out. And that doesn't look too terrible. I actually quite like that a lot. I do still think that the other Hugh Jackman Wolverine, this one here, this head sculpt is a lot better than this older one. But if you want him with the grinning teeth, that does not look half bad. If you wanted to compare it to some action figures you have at home, we can see over here that this new Wolverine does stand at about 6, and I want to say a half inches up to the ears. All right, so final thoughts on this brand new Hugh Jackman Marvel Legends Wolverine. Yeah, let's address the elephant in the room. This guy does not have the sleeveless look on him. This was based off of concept art, and it is based off of a version of the costume that was earlier on in the movie. So with that, I think it's good for that case. But if you guys are looking for like the brand new Wolverine, Hugh Jackman in his costume, and you don't like this look where he's got the sleeves on, I would just wait. You don't need to pick up this guy just yet. I have a very good feeling that Hasbro will revisit these figures and include that sleeveless look. And with that, I will also say that the accessories on this guy is okay. Wish we could have used the extra hands. So if they ever do revisit this, I really want them to have a mask look that has that teeth showing. And I don't really know if they would need it for the Hugh Jackman face. That one is pretty good as is. Paint on it, I think we could have used a little bit more. The articulation, of course, it was not very well. The main parts of it is that I don't like that it doesn't have the diaphragm joint. And then on top of that, the shoulder pads do hinder the arms a bunch. And that really does suck. And I wish that they would have figured out a better way to fix that. And then otherwise, the proportions on this guy are actually not half bad. The sculpting is not half bad either. There is a little bit of issues, especially going on with the bottom of the boot over there. I don't know what the heck happened to that. But yeah, as it stands right now, I feel like this figure, along with the Deadpool, were two that really suffered from the concept art curse, where it's like they base these figures off of concept art that they got before the movie came out. So hopefully they will reissue this with more detail. So what would I give this figure as a rating? I think an 8 is enough for this figure. It's not anything too crazy. It is a little bit expensive, being at the $36 price point now in Canada. Uh, yeah, like the proportions are good on it, or at least good for the most part. It's just the design that really falls apart with it, and especially when it comes to that articulation. I feel like we could have used a little more accessories with how expensive it is. The thing that also pissed me off too is that these figures were released way after the movie was put out, yet they still have some inaccuracies. But putting that all aside, I think it's a very solid look of the figure in terms of the first like appearance of it in the movie. But I think everyone's waiting for that sleeveless look. And otherwise, I'm very happy that we finally have Hugh Jackman in his yellow and blue suit, and I can put it next to all my Marvel Legends MCU figures. That's absolutely amazing to see. And if you want the figure for that alone, I think it's pretty much worth it. But if you're just getting this figure to get this figure on its own, I feel like there's better options out there. With that said, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you a fan of this figure? Do you like the look of it? Do you like the design of this? Are you a sleeveless person, or are you non-sleeveless? I do like the sleeveless, but I do prefer the shoulder pads on top of that. So hopefully they can do an edition of that figure that has that. And as every YouTuber begs you to do, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.